Welcome to the Bemidji Area Chamber of Commerce's Meet the Candidates series, which consists of videos interviewing mayoral candidates running for the candidacy of mayor in the upcoming local primary election. I'm Ashley Johnson, a volunteer board member of the Bemidji Area Chamber and your host of this interview. I'm here representing the Bemidji Area Chamber of Commerce as a volunteer member of the board of directors, not to be affiliated or endorse any person, entity, or organization other than the Bemidji Area Chamber of Commerce. Today's interview will cover topics that affect Bemidji's business community and economic growth. The goal of this interview is to help our members make an informed choice among mayoral candidates in the August 11th local primary election. The candidate in today's interview will be provided with a 2-minute maximum introduction, and we'll have 3 minutes to answer the specific questions that have been chosen by the Bemidji Area Chamber Board of Directors. So I'd like to introduce you to Michael Meehlhause and provide him the opportunity to introduce himself.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Michael Meehlhause and I'm running for Bemidji Mayor. I'm a Bemidji State graduate, an academic advisor and Nordic ski coach at Trek North High School, a Captain America and a plaid enthusiast, and for the last 8 years, I've represented Ward 1 on the Bemidji City Council. I first ran for office because I fell in love with this community, and I was raised with the lesson that if you care about something, you should give back to it. The mayor of Bemidji is the ultimate public servant, and after all that Bemidji has done for me, I'm running for mayor because I want to continue giving back to this amazing community. I've been proud to be a part of a city council and community team that has accomplished some great things over the last 8 years. Addressing critical infrastructure such as our new water treatment plant, investing in our parks and trails, becoming a sustainable Minnesota Green Step city, and earning the title of Best Minnesota Town in 2018. These accomplishments help create an environment that attracts talent, grows our economy, and improves our quality of life. There are still challenges ahead that we'll talk about today, but I believe as mayor that I can bring the community together to address them. The mayor is a member of a team, working alongside 6 other city council members in the community to address city issues, foster respectful discussion, and build a collective vision for the future. Having served on the council for 8 years, I know how important it is to have a mayor with experience in building a team and taking its challenges head on. I'm a passionate representative of this community, and I work empathetically with constituents to address issues that matter to them. I call that my Bemidji state of mind, and I'm proud to do that every day. I'm Michael Meehlhause. I'm running for Bemidji Mayor, and I'm excited to answer your questions this afternoon.
Thanks, Michael. So I'd like to begin the interview question period and remind you that you'll have 3 minutes to respond, and I will give you a 2-minute warning, and my timer will stop at the end of each question that I ask.
All right.
Okay. What do you consider the single most critical issue the city is facing, and how do you propose to resolve it?
Thank you. So I view the most important critical issue that the city is facing right now is related to our water infrastructure. It's making sure that we have clean and healthy drinking water at the start, and we have effective wastewater treatment at the end. Clean and safe drinking water, it's one of the most important essentials that a city like Bemidji can provide. And because we all love our lakes and what they provide for our community, we need to make sure that we are also doing our part to protect them from pollution and human waste. So with our water treatment plant is the first one. In 2017, the City Council first learned about rising PFC pollution levels at our airport water wells and the need to address them. We directed city staff to immediately begin looking at how we could do that. We looked at a lot of different options, ultimately deciding that the best course of action was to construct a new water treatment plant to protect our drinking water and remove this contamination from our water source itself. In the last few months, it's been busy, but we actually bid out the water treatment plant with construction. If it hasn't started already, it should be starting soon. And the first phase of it to address our current needs should be online by February. Now the challenge is paying for it. We believe that the state has an obligation to help because water issues are local, but the consequences are statewide. And most cities in greater Minnesota simply do not have the financial means to finance major infrastructure projects like this. So to address this, we've requested bonding money because our drinking water is of regional importance. The alternative is raising utility rates 40%, and that's unfair because it's more than just the 16,000 people that live in Bemidji who use our water. On a given day, there's 40,000 people here. So it's important that we're paying for this project in a way that uses regional dollars. So that's wastewater or the water treatment plant. On the other end is the wastewater treatment plant. And we've begun planning for the future with that. And the reason we need to expand that is to support our continued growth in the community. What we've done is last couple of years, we've filled out our new permit with the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. And we're simply waiting on the state to tell us what we need to do, what we need to address. So the next step will be getting our permit from the state, knowing what we need to address and the cost. And then proactively, we've already gone on the Public Facilities Authority program list for federal clean water dollars. And I think we'll look at bonding to make sure that just like our water treatment plant, we are paying for this expansion in a way that is not unfair to our community residents.
Okay, just in the nick of time. Question number 2, what do you feel the city's role is in attracting more industry and businesses?
When it comes to attracting more industry and businesses, the city's primary role is to make sure that we are providing great essential services. That includes water and sewer, like I just talked about, public safety, like our police and fire response, great roads, great parks and amenities that attract people to this area who want to live here, work here, and play here. Since I've been on council, there's been a couple things we've done specifically to help businesses get established here. In 2013, when I was first on, we changed one of our ordinances to allow the construction of tap rooms in city limits, which allowed Bemidji Brewing to get started in this community. We also partner with organizations like Greater Bemidji, who an organization like that can specifically go out and really recruit businesses to the area. And they sell this community based on the very essential things I talked about, what a great place we are to live, work, and play. And that worked. We saw that with Delta Dental coming to our community. We also support groups like the Launchpad and all the small businesses that have started up there. And then from a city finance side, we can actually provide a couple funding options like revolving loan funds or tax increment financing to help businesses expand or build infrastructure. In average, there's been $33 million of new construction over the last 10 years. And right now we're on pace to exceed that number for this year, all things considered with COVID. So in the future though, especially considering the economic challenges we face due to COVID-19, I want to make sure that we're putting our economic development dollars to work. We have almost $1 million in revolving loan funds that's sitting in the bank right now, drawing interest. And I think it's going to be really important that we get that money out in the community to work, whether that's through loans themselves or using that interest to create a grant program to help existing businesses invest in themselves, or as a city applying for small communities development program forgivable loans like we've done in the past that, again, help these businesses expand and grow in our community. But again, the biggest thing that we can do as a community from a city perspective is we just continue to make sure that we are a great place to live, to play, and to work. And we've been doing that very well, and I think we will continue to see businesses choose Bemidji because of this.
Thank you. A significant challenge for our chamber members and our city has been vagrancy, panhandling, public drunkenness, and other safety concerns. How do you plan to resolve these issues?
I think it's important to acknowledge that these are not easy issues to address. And it's also important to remember that we are not alone in this issue, especially a lot of cities in greater Minnesota deal with the same challenges that we have. Specifically, homelessness and mental health issues in our community, I believe they need to be addressed compassionately with community empathy and with respect to individual rights. Some of the things you mentioned, they specifically become a city issue when an individual acts aggressively or breaks one of our ordinances, or ultimately if someone feels threatened. And when that happens, that's when law enforcement needs to get involved. As a city, one of the things we've tried to do as a preventative measure is make sure that we have law enforcement foot patrols downtown. I know that's been a goal, something that the chamber has wanted and our police chief has supported over the years. Another thing as a city that we need to make sure we're addressing is, as we look at our rental ordinance in the next couple of months and update it, we need to make sure that tenants are protected from evictions that put them out on the street and just increase our challenge with homelessness. But ultimately, the goal needs to be to address the source, not just the symptoms, not just further criminalizing issues like homelessness. Now, the city doesn't have the capacity for social services. We don't. That falls on entities like Beltrami County. But we as a city need to partner with Beltrami County, with Sanford Health, local organizations like the Nameless Coalition, to expand their services and help address these issues at the source. A couple specific things that I think that would help our community include a day center that would give our vulnerable population a place to go and get the help that they need. Increased mental health resources through Upper Mississippi, which was acquired by Sanford Health, better access to drug and addiction treatment, and stable housing for at-risk populations. As a community, we can't look at our vulnerable population with a not in my backyard mentality. We need approaches that reach people where they are and help give them a hand. Like a lot of challenges facing our community, it's not an issue that the city can solve alone. When it's a safety concern, which is some of the things you mentioned, we need to make sure we're supporting our law enforcement's ability to respond. But as mayor, I want to work with our partners and support their efforts to combat poverty and social challenges we face so that we're addressing the root cause, not just the symptoms.
Thank you. The Sanford Center is an important asset for Bemidji. What goals do you have for the Sanford Center, and how will you hold VenueWorks accountable to those goals?
I think the Sanford Center has been a great asset to this community, and my biggest goal is to make sure that we're easing the taxpayer burden for the Sanford Center, because it's a regional asset that I believe should be supported regionally. Now, it's important to know that city-owned event centers in Minnesota don't make an annual profit. And often they have an additional revenue stream that helps support them. Some communities, it's a hospitality tax that can go and help operating deficits. Other communities, it's a sales tax that can help with kind of the brick and mortar or capital improvement. In Bemidji, only 3% of our general fund supports the operations deficit, $450,000 a year. But more importantly, we're the only community without any additional revenue sources to support operations or the capital improvement of the building. And that's important. My goal is, as a city, I think it's important to work with the Chamber of Commerce and other entities, just like we did in 2006, when this community came together and passed the referendum to build the event center. And now, over 10 years after it first opened its doors, I think it's just as important to partner with the Chamber and other businesses to get the support we need to adequately fund the Sanford Center and make sure we're taking that taxpayer burden off of the residents and the Chamber businesses that support it now. As a council, as a city council, I think we need to make sure that we are taking the politics of micromanaging operations out. That's why we set up a board of directors that oversees the operations. We have a great director in Tiffany who has been instrumental in operating the building. She's local, she knows the community, and she's been really good at operating that building through the challenges that COVID-19 has presented. In terms of holding VenueWorks accountable, I hold them accountable to the contract they signed with us. And I hold them accountable to their mission and their strategic plan that they give us at the end of every year. Specifically for this year, they wanted, their goals were to increase more homegrown events and community use, to make sure they are having a great partnership with BSU and their hockey programs, with our naming rights tenant and Sanford Health. And when we are able to safely open up again and host events, make sure that we are hosting events that bring people into this community and drive our local economy. That's why we built this in the first place. It's been a success. We need to give it the tools it needs to be a really great success.
Well, that concludes today's interview. We want to thank our members for watching, and please check out our website at bemidji.org for all of the mayoral interviews in this series, as well as other relevant local election information. And remember to vote in the upcoming primary election on Tuesday, August 11th. Thank you for watching, and thank you, Michael, for participating.
Thank you for having me.